Welcome.
And we are back, man. Listen, it's episode 10 of the Free Jams podcast. We here. I got my co-host with me. You know what I'm saying? Got Cinco here to my right. And of course, I'm here. You know what I'm saying? As if you don't know. And to my left, I got a special guest.
Very special guest.
Somebody who's pretty family tied into the podcast, one way or the other. But to my left, we have B Walk. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Brian Walker here.
Mr. Dbacks Academy himself.
Yes, sir. Mr. Dbacks Academy himself. And for those who don't know, I'm gonna let him talk because last time I realized I spoke like a whole minute and a half before I let him say anything. So before we go get right into it, man, tell him who you are, where you from, what you got going on with Dbacks Academy.
Yes, sir. So Brian Walker from Inglewood, New Jersey.
Yes, sir.
Biggest thing, what I got going on with Dbacks Academy is a platform where I work with not just high school, college, but I work with NFL guys. Started that business in a sense where, during the COVID, a lot of things shut down, and there was so many opportunities. I said I might as well, start my own platform.
Okay, so as far as Dbacks Academy, if people who don't know, Dbacks is defensive backs. We're talking football right now. We into sports. So first and foremost, we gotta explain. This is an athletic legend in his own right.
Legit,
for sure.
Legit, seriously.
No, for sure. We done heard about all the records and track and all stuff like that. I know a little bit, but you know what I'm saying? Growing up, me and Kamal, we always idolized and looked up to you. Little do you know, but I used to, you know what I'm saying? I had football dreams. So you feel me? Anybody I remember Kamal would tell me stories like, yeah, bro, I just worked out with Justin Tuck. And I'm like, what? We're in like 8th grade. I'm like, what are you talking? I'm like, Super Bowl winning Justin Tuck? I'm like, yeah. He's like, yo, my cousin B Walk always got me living. He got me in tune. So I'm like, yeah, I gotta sit down with B Walk and talk sports and talk the journey.
Dbacks Academy, like I said, and with my journey, my biggest thing is played football, track, basketball. Of course, everybody is familiar with my brother, Leandre.
Yes, sir.
With the whole Jelly fam.
Yeah, shout out to Dre Walsh if you don't know, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to the whole Jelly fam.
And the biggest thing for me is just, with Kamal and everyone else is providing a platform that I probably didn't have. So anybody I worked with when I was getting ready for the NFL, I always would say, my little cousin's coming. I'm not training unless my little cousin's coming.
Yeah, that's dope.
Even
that's
people,
dope.
So.
Yeah, that's dope,
no,
man.
Literally, legit.
So what? Take us through like high school. What high schools did you go to?
So I went to 2. I went to Bosco.
Okay.
I went to
Don Bosco.
Don Bosco.
Yeah.
Then I went to Hackensack. The journey of how I got to Don Bosco from Inglewood is pretty much real simple. I'm in 7th grade, and I started realizing I was slipping, wasn't working hard, and I felt like, you know what, I need to refocus.
Yeah.
Sure. And sometimes you just yourself, and it's nothing against my hometown, but I just seen too many stories where I was like, you know what happened to that guy?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I looked at it, like basketball was an opportunity for me, and I thought it was a hooper.
Yeah.
But,
so you were into basketball more than football at first?
I was a basketball.
Okay, for those who don't know, Don Bosco is a powerhouse high school. It's one of the most known, most recognized in multiple sports, but really football, they've been #1 in the nation multiple times throughout the decades. Like, they're consistently a powerhouse. Like, it's Bosco, there's schools like Bishop Gorman, Plantation in Florida. Like, there's a couple schools that if you know
Pillars.
football,
you know
about Don Bosco.
Yeah,
you know about the people
real.
that came out those schools.
It was a blessing. I get there thinking I'm a hooper, and then the head coach comes, Coach Toll, who's like a nationally known coach.
Yeah, Coach Toll, great coach, legend.
He grabs me up and is like, look, man, you're not getting 6'7". So let's get you into this football life.
For sure.
And it was a blessing. I got to see the beginning stage of how you build a program and how you become, disciplined and just focus on what you want to do. And, I was honored, so I was definitely
Bosco is definitely, like I said, it's one of those schools, something you put on your resume. So did you start at Bosco? Because you said did you start your high school career at Bosco and then go to Hackensack, or vice versa?
I did 3 years at Bosco.
Oh, okay, damn.
Then
So by the time you went to Hackensack, it felt like playing against it was a men against kids probably. Like that feeling.
It lets you know how important the power of the mind is.
Right.
Yeah.
Because coming from Bosco, where you're locked in, 24/7. When I got to Hackensack in the public school system, you kind of understand that, okay, well, this is how you can get distracted at times.
Yeah.
The beauty of Hackensack, I can say, is that it was so diverse, and I got to see, I wasn't just locked in and just being an athlete. You know how LeBron and them got more than an athlete?
Yeah.
So Hackensack was good for me because it laid the foundation for me in terms of, becoming a businessman.
Yes, for sure. And I can only imagine it had to be such a difference because, like I said, people don't know, Bosco is like a college. Like
the structure is crazy.
The structure is crazy. They do what they got to do to get. They get recruits from across the world if they got to. So it's and when I say the world, I mean literally. I met a dude. I forgot his name off the top of my head, but he was like 6'7". He was like fresh out from like France or something. I think he graduated like 2015. And I was like, they picked you up from where? It was just his size. Like they had had to pick him up.
It's big business.
Yeah, for sure.
Like anything, as you can see with the NILs now and the likeness and the image of anything for any athlete, you know, Bosco was ahead of his time, and you know how they spoke to you was like, look, everyone is an All-American around here.
Yeah.
So now you got to become a pro. And so that was the dynamic, and I'm like 14, 15.
It's like
thinking like, oh, I'm going.
I'm punching my ticket. It's
I feel
only
like that's a
time.
lot of people's mindset when they hear, oh, I'm going to Bosco, especially then when you transfer over to like Division I. When I look at like the amount of Division I athletes, and I see it's only like 250 something that get drafted every year, and a couple picked up at the offseason, I'm like, bruh, it's thousands of them. Only about 300 are even going to touch the league, and out that 300, maybe 100 will be there a year later.
It's
if that.
And you know what? Like I said, the blessing of Bosco is just it kept me locked in. But even better, Hackensack was something where it made me expand my horizon.
Yeah,
for sure.
And any information I got, I just was able to pass on. So,
did you guys get any accolades while you were at Bosco? Did you get any like chips or did you get any big runs?
We went to. I started my sophomore year at Bosco.
Okay,
so we went to.
He was elite.
2 state championships because I left my senior year.
That's tough.
And then Hackensack was just literally just me and a few other guys because the class before us was senior heavy. So I was just teaching the other guys like how to just be and it's crazy how to be a pro.
That's what your mindset was at.
Yeah.
That's what them schools do.
Coming from a Power 5 school, you know.
I remember I actually went to a Bosco game for one time, and it felt like a college. It was crazy because I've never seen people wearing like jerseys of players in high school unless it was like their parents. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could tell. And I remember the first person I ever saw out there that their jersey stood out was Jabril Peppers.
Yes.
Because I saw the number 18 everywhere wearing Peppers. I'm like, who's in the league with the number? That's Peppers. I'm like, he has to be an alumni for people to be having his number everywhere.
He was like a freshman.
He was a sophomore. He was a sophomore already, but he was the leading scorer at Bosco his freshman year.
Yeah.
And they had a Division I running back. I forget his name. It was actually Kevin Wilkes' brother, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. No. Bosco, like I said, Bosco is like a platform of the program or any type of structure that has a type of NFL base. Because the coaches, we had a lot of NFL coaches come back and help out, like Phil Simms. He was my coach.
Nice.
And a few guys, like Jim Burt, but he played for the Giants a while ago. But Bosco, like I said, Bosco was something I just picked out of a hat. I'm a kid from.
You had options.
Well, it was just for me. Like I said,
you needed that structure, right?
I need that structure. Coming from Inglewood, the dynamic. I'm in the Fourth Ward, where it's a suburban area with urban issues.
I say a lot about teenage Hackensack and Inglewood.
It's a different dynamic. And my mom being a single parent, my pops going through, he was going through. I think the best blessing was my brother being born because I said, you know what, let me change my ways. And, I got younger family members who, they want to see me do well. So
for sure, I
just chose Bosco. It was like, you know what, and it was a family friend who went there. So it was a favor for a favor. Didn't have great grades, wasn't an honor student, but this guy said, let me help him out, and it changed my life.
That's what's up. I'm glad you got to experience that and the dynamic between that and then going to Hackensack, you know?
Yeah. No, like I said, that dynamic was different because coming from Inglewood where, it's all black in a sense in the school system.
Yeah.
Then going to Bosco where all white.
Except for the basketball team.
Especially football, basketball. And then, with that dynamic with all white, for me, I had to not just see, but understand the differences, but the likeness where a lot of these guys like the music I like. Like I always say, there's always 3 sides. There's the ones who want to be like us, the ones who hate us, and the ones who are confused.
No, for sure.
So it was cool with that, and that opportunity was dope. And then getting to Hackensack was just like a blessing because it gave me back the love of football and the love of sports because I had some really good coaches.
That's good.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Bosco is an all boys school.
All boys school.
Yeah, that's how I was locked in.
All boys school.
But working out, pre-workouts, and testosterone, and it's just straight male energy in there. Everybody in there,
and uniforms.
So there's no trying to be better than another person. Is what do you do on the field? What do you do on the court?
That uniform was it's tough, but it was easy in a sense. You didn't have to go through the high school phase, So
wake up, you already know what you was throwing on.
Going to a school like that, did you play with anybody that ended up making it pros? Like that was on your team?
I played with elites. over 10 guys who made it to the pros.
Wow.
So,
Nice.
you know, one
Any
who
standout names?
Ryan Grant.
Okay,
Oh, yeah,
running
running back
Yeah,
for the
yeah, yeah.
Packers.
I think he went to Nebraska, if I'm not mistaken.
He went to Notre Dame.
I'm tripping.
Then he went to Green Bay. But you know, he was like a big part of my structure in my life, really.
Yeah.
And then you know, rest in peace to his brother who just passed,
Oh,
Natick.
wow.
So just want to give a shout for that. But Ryan Grant was someone who was a year older, around 2 years from me. Like I said, the neighborhood in Inglewood where everyone's an athlete, but you never see why they're great athletes.
Right.
Yeah.
I got to see Ryan put that work in, and you know, he was just telling me stories about visiting Ohio State and Notre Dame's
I
and
can
being
imagine.
here. And it was just it was a blessing because by him sharing any information I got, I was sharing to the next person.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Each one teach one.
Each one teach one.
That's a great
Yeah,
quote.
for real,
And,
for real.
he wasn't selfish. He wasn't jealous. He was like, you know what? It didn't matter.
Yeah.
Even if I had a better career or whatever it may be, he was just gonna let me know this is the information. This is what you need to do.
That-
So
you need people like that in your life, you know?
yeah.
Yeah. Quick, so what position did you play? Tell the people. I knew, but
I played well. I played all, but I played defensive back mostly.
Right.
Receiver, running back. I thought I was a running back, but it ain't work.
I think everybody does
I was
that.
running back, but defensive back is where I made my money, and I was able to, you know, get a few scholarships from that. So
I was just about to
Yeah,
get
I
into
was just
that.
about to transition that. So, okay, so after your senior year Hackensack, you know, take us on a little bit of your journey after that.
man, senior year at Hackensack, and this is where the power of Bosco sometimes you can get, and I hate saying blackball, but you know, whiteball or whatever the dynamic was. But not realizing big business in Jersey is interesting with football. So I left, got to Hackensack, and lost 17 scholarships.
Damn.
And
Wow.
I found out later.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I found out later on when I was in JUCO, which is a whole nother journey.
Yeah.
Wow.
So lost those scholarships, not knowing, and like I said, getting to Hackensack, I was kind of broken my own deal
You're right.
when I got to Hackensack. So I'm talking with the coaches, not knowing my Bosco coach worked at Hackensack.
Oh.
So I'm, you know, like I said, chilling in the halls. I see the head coach at Bosco in Hackensack.
You
I'm like,
like,
that just set me up. So and this is the power sometimes of just, you know, the voice.
Right.
And a lot of times, you know, I'm sure he had his opinion. He was
Yeah.
mad.
Right.
And lost 17 scholarships. Like, I just remember that number because I remember the coaches would call me, be like, yo, man, I thought you was this person. I'm like, nah, man. But had to go to 1AA, which was a blessing, Northeastern.
Okay.
And got there, and the dynamic of that was I was playing receiver. So I had to change position. They was just like, yo, we don't have scholarships for no DBs.
So,
Playing
yeah.
receiver.
Right.
Got there, and you know, that situation was the clearinghouse, NCAA clearinghouse, where your academics aren't up to par. You got to go back home. And so I had to go back home.
That happens to a lot of athletes.
Happens
Very
to a lot.
humbling.
Because
Like-
most athletes are really, truth be told, just so zeroed in on football that
Yes.
schooling comes second no matter what. It's just,
It's, you know, for our generation, or for my generation, you know, my parents didn't really know about SATs like that. You know, you get accepted to the school, you're supposed to go, and that's it.
Right.
So, you know, SATs was big in terms of kids getting to school. But, you know, I came back home, worked at 7-Eleven, and humbling.
because you
Very
thought you were
humbling.
NFL bound by 4 years
No.
before that.
No, the crazy joint is, you know, I'm in my senior year, I'm in Hackensack, you know, that guy, and then next year I'm eating lunch with people who are over 70. And I'm like,
That's
I'm
tough.
like, what?
That's tough.
That's
But that doesn't stop the drive though. That
Exactly.
that probably springs you forward. Like I
that,
gotta work.
a lot of people's stories ended with the end of there.
Yeah,
right there.
A
Yeah.
lot of people's stories were ended right there.
Right there.
It's you know, it's a hunger. I
Yeah.
think it's one of those things where, you know what, you doubt me? Okay, cool. Guess what? You're gonna say, that's my cousin one day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I just was hungry about what I wanted to do and knew that the journey is gonna be tough, like anything.
Yeah.
But-
And you've probably been a dog your whole life, just assuming
Yo,
just off the
had to
size
be.
because
Had
you're not
to.
the
No,
tallest guy, especially
not
on the
at all.
football field.
Not at
Yeah.
all. Not at
It's
all.
like I know it's
It's
Always been a dog. Always.
You know what? The dynamic is even now when I walk around. They go, you played high level football? You played pro?
right. People like
What? I'm like, I was the kicker. So I was the kicker. I was the kicker. So, you know, but you know, that journey coming back home and you know, making sure, like I said, I was locked in because it's easy to get into other stuff that is you know, accessible.
and,
Right.
and everything that was there when you left. So when you come,
Everything
right as
that
soon
was
as you
there.
come back, it's
right there.
easy. It's right there.
It's right there. And then you know, like I tell kids now, the mindset is important. So I had to continue
100%.
to pray and stay prayed up and just stay focused and read. I think reading was the biggest thing for me because I used to just stay reading magazines, football magazines, or people's journeys and stories. And, ESPN is big on, behind the scenes. So I got locked in with that. And then, I even poured on to my brother. He was about like 8 years old or so. So he got that energy, what I was doing. But, left the Kmart life and the 7-Eleven life, serving food, and I knew that wasn't my journey.
Right, you knew that wasn't going to be the end of it.
And got back into college and got back into Northeastern, but ended up doing JUCO in Cali. So that was my next step after.
JUCO in Cali?
JUCO in Cali. So
what part of California were you in?
I was in 2 areas. I was in Oxnard, California, which is
nice.
which is like the Mexican neighborhood, which is Mexicans run LA, California.
Yeah,
that is Mexico.
It's different out there.
That is, and then I was in Santa Clarita, which is like the suburban area. College of the Canyons was like a national powerhouse, and the Oxnard, California aspect. That's when I realized that culture is different because. We always got cousins and uncles who are involved, but out there it's the grandmas involved.
It's generational game banging out there.
Everybody's affiliated, and the biggest thing is I got to learn the history of it and just respect it. So being out there, my second week I had a gun to my head.
What?
Yeah.
Second week.
My second week.
Hey, run us through. Hold on. How did you end up with a gun to your head?
Nah, for me, in Jersey, and just like I said, from Inglewood, a one-on-one is a one-on-one. We fight, and that's it. We don't think about coming back and putting a gun to anyone's head. As you get older, of course, things happen. But for me out there, West Coast, football roommate. He wasn't my roommate. He was my downstairs roommate, but he dabbled in drugs. So he caught one, and I got him. And then I'm thinking it's over. We'll see each other on the football field. The next thing you know, he comes back upstairs. He's telling me terror stories, and I'm like, he's like, I'm from this and I'm from that. I'm like, all right, cool. And
that's cool.
I didn't know what he's saying, so I'm like, all right, yeah, you from there. And then next thing you know, he got a gun. I'm like,
that's what. But this is your own teammate. I'm over here thinking it's a random person.
So the way JUCO is like, they bring in everybody. So literally, I had 30 people in my position.
Oh, wow.
And so, I'm coming from Jersey. They already have this thing like Jersey.
Where are you coming from? Where?
Like, you're not Jersey? Most of them, I would assume, are like probably from
that area. From the area. So, me being out there, me being the only one from Jersey, they like, okay, we're going to set this. And like I said, I'm a chill dude, but, I've been around too many wolves to not just, be prey. So
yeah, for sure.
I felt like, you know what, this dynamic with the gun to my head and kind of taking a step back, that your life does flash.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
And like anything, the craziest thing, and I laugh at it now, but thanks to watching all the movies, I was like, put the gun down. I'm talking to him, I'm trying to you have your whole life ahead.
Hold on, my brother.
You don't got to do this.
I had the bishop back there. God is with you, sir.
I feel that.
It was definitely one of those, put the gun down, take a step back.
No, for sure.
And,
that's funny.
You had to talk your way out of that one.
Yeah, it's like, listen.
How did this get here?
He's crying and everything.
Wait, he was crying? Oh, no.
He was
emotional with the gun?
He was
you must have really rocked his shit then.
It went from, I don't know what he's talking about to, sir, calm down, please.
In a second.
Because like anything, the eyes tell you, and you just know, like, if they're not there,
the eyes is
and I was on a balcony, so all I could think about was like, damn, my mama, she gonna be like, what is this Negro doing? Why are you on a balcony? So it was, and like I said, this is where having family and Kamal's uncle, which is my cousin, Tommy Wright, who's an actor. Tom Wright.
Right.
He kept me, to the code. As much as people think, he's an actor and he's this, that, he was letting me know, LA gang life.
So he was into it. Okay.
Yeah, because
he was actually in barbershop, if I'm not mistaken. Shout out to Tommy Wright. He was up to the cop, if I'm not mistaken. One of the cops.
Seinfeld, everything.
That's dope.
Now, when I first got there, my first week, he's like, look, you can't wear that.
You got to give me the breakdown real quick. Come from Jersey?
Yes, the Yankees hat, gotta go. If you wear Astros hat, you're not making it home.
I'm walking down there. He's like, look, my man, wear gray. I'm like,
neutral.
Gray? So, you know what? When that situation happened, he took me in, and I came to his crib. They fed me, and they loved me, and they showed me the energy that I needed. Because like anything that's traumatic, you kind of got to take a step back and go, what I want to do. And the crazy thing, what really kind of the turning point on how I kept moving forward was, I called one of my OGs from Northeastern who lived in LA, and I I was like, yo, this dude put a gun out on me. What do you want me to do? He was like, look, I can come out there and, I got peoples and we can kill him.
Right, you can go that route.
But they're going to kill you.
Right.
And he said, what do you want to do? Do you want to be in the street or do you want to be an athlete?
Right.
And I was like, I'm here for football.
Yeah.
100%.
And that changed my life because it was just so easy for him to say, yo, we can do this, but what do you want to do? And when he told me, he's like, yo, you got to eat that and move forward.
Right.
I was like, okay,
So
well,
your
50 said, I'm here for a real reason.
Yeah,
You got hit like I got hit for the game,
Yeah.
So my mindset after that was just everything's food.
Yeah.
Food. So I just locked in even more. And my focus and, my higher power, my consciousness was like,
on another level.
there's no end result.
Yes.
Right.
I'm going to keep going.
Yes.
So how long were you in JUCO, and what school did you go to after that?
So after that situation, I saw how the coaches kind of handled that matter, and I wasn't pleased by that. So
Yeah.
I said, you know what? I became an All-American. It was crazy. Became an All-American my freshman year
Wait, in JUCO?
in JUCO.
Oh,
Became an All-American and kind of leveraged my deal, similar to like Bosco and Hackensack.
Broken your own deal.
I had some people who knew, suburban area, kind of like a Ramsey area.
Right.
They needed a roommate. I said, okay. And then next thing you know, I'm at this JUCO and positioned myself at College of the Canyons, which won the national championship. And
Wow.
I was able to get like I said, all my scholarships back.
That's fire. Yep.
And it was like, okay, this is how they maneuver. And then, also I was telling Kamal a while ago, like even with, being, blackballed or whiteballed at that dynamic, I had to change my name.
What?
So Brian Walker went from BT Walker because I just knew the marketing aspect of
Yeah.
everything.
Oh.
So
Genius.
no one would blackball me.
Yes.
Right.
Back home.
Man, it's deep. It's
It was
deep.
deep.
The politics is deep.
The
in these
politics
sports,
is
man.
crazy.
Literally had to
Politics
change
is
it. That's tough.
Changed it.
And the wherewithal to even do that, to
Yes.
even maneuver that move.
And this is where the reading aspect, this is where the marketing and just business magazines where they,
it
a
all
lot
comes
of
back.
brands, they changed it. If their brand is not working with
Yeah,
that name,
no, listen,
they
they'll-
changed it.
yeah,
Like
they'll
PG-13
rebrand it.
with Paul George. He
Yeah.
went from 24 to 13 because it was way more marketable to
Way more
PG-13.
marketing. And
Makes
so,
sense.
that BT Walker was an easy, quick, okay, cool. I don't know this guy because he's in LA. And I remember Rutgers was calling me like, yeah, man, we love you. And da-da-da. I'm like, man.
Like, y'all love me
Like,
now?
word, that's
Now-
crazy.
Now that I'm just being woke.
Yeah, so
I'm
it's
3,000
hilarious.
miles away now.
Yeah, so it was hilarious. But end up going to Washington State, like I
That's
said.
fire.
And
Okay, Cougars.
yeah, back out there near Idaho, and
Damn.
yeah. So
Idaho?
I know, it was crazy. It was crazy.
I forgot that was a
Potatoes?
state,
Potatoes?
though. Oh, yeah, the Idaho potatoes.
It was crazy. And so they were part of my top 5 schools because it was USC, Oklahoma, Oregon State. Like I said, Rutgers, Temple. I went to go Temple visit. But Washington State, they had a good little bag. So it was
Okay.
a great
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it made sure I was comfortable.
Yeah,
that's what it's about.
that's what it's about, for
like,
real.
They make sure they take care of athletes, man.
Yes.
I think that shit is dope. The fact that now athletes can get paid. Oh my! Especially before like they make it pro, obviously. Like that is such a game changer, man.
Yes.
Especially because a lot of these colleges, in some states and some cities, these college teams are bigger than the professional teams.
Of course.
Like you go to the middle
absolutely.
of Florida, people are Gators and Seminoles fans way
Oh,
before they're Dolphins or Buccaneers fans.
Of course.
Like, and they'll
Or
die about some
Jaguars,
Seminole.
yo.
Yeah, like they don't know no Jaguars. You go to Atlanta. I mean, you go to Georgia. They're Georgia Bulldog fans
Yeah,
before they're
yeah.
Falcon fans. Falcons is cool. Don't get me wrong.
But
It's about the Bulldogs out there.
Being being close to Idaho, you see how many people know who you are and they know your story.
Right,
Yo,
exactly. These small
yes,
markets,
that-
people can be so marketable. 'cause it's
People
like-
actually actually follow and pay attention
follow.
to these
Yeah,
places.
yeah, they know
it's
you
not
personally.
it's not like you out here, not like you out in LA,
Yeah.
where there's so much stuff going on.
Everyone's an actor. Everybody's an
Yeah.
athlete in LA. So for
many
me,
different teams and stuff to pay attention to. But now you out there and people are locked in.
I'm out there, and like I said, for me, the dynamic of being out here, where sometimes it could be too much, segregated. Being in Idaho, you got white people waving at you and smiling. You're like,
You're like, feel like get out.
Hey, how
this
you
ain't
doing?
right.
How you doing?
I can
How you
imagine.
doing? So it
Idaho
was,
is crazy though, bro.
It caught me off guard, but it was beautiful because the land and agriculture, and I'm a writer, so for me, I was able to do more creative thinking
Nice.
and just kind of channel that. So
You know
Nice.
what? Matter of fact, while we talking about all this athletics and going through school, what did you major in this whole time? I just thought you had to be doing something in classrooms.
Well, first I majored in Crayon 101. I just want to thank my coach.
And Crayon 101.
Just want to thank my college coach for getting through. But no, communications was the end result. You know, like I said, my biggest thing was always marketing and business and understanding. You know, there's a brand for everyone. Everyone has greatness. You know, and my biggest thing is just how can we capitalize on that greatness? So, you know, communication in Washington State is big in terms of, you know, a lot of broadcasters and, you know, it's allowed me to do what I'm doing now with the sports analysts with the Giants.
Right, so, that's dope. So you have to get into all that, too.
And that dynamic. So, you know, tapped into that. Washington State, we weren't the best team. We played against USC and UCLA.
Pac-12. Pac-12.
Yeah, Pac-12, no joke.
Got to understand the dynamic of, you know, why Bosco was important because why they worked us so hard because at Washington State, I felt like a lot of coaches were collecting checks.
Not really doing too much.
Not locked
resting
in.
on their laurels.
This is where for athletes and young athletes, I always tell them, know who your position coach is or know what your head coach's goal is. Because sometimes some people just take the job and just want to sit back. Take this as a retirement home.
Makes sense.
And for me, you know, when I'm young and I'm trying to get it, I can't be around that energy.
No, not at all.
It'll put you in the dark. Like,
got to be focused. So, you know, I tell guys now, and even if college doesn't even pan out, there's so much access where you can go to pro days, tryouts, whatever the dynamic. And, you know, my biggest thing was just let me get through that situation and keep it moving and get back home and do what I got to do.
So going back to Washington State, did you play DB again? Or
I played, both. Played DB again. And my junior year played a lot, played all 10 games. My senior year did not. It was a different story. You know, the coaching staff, and this is the big business of it, the coaching staff basically was trying to keep their job, and their dynamic was, we want to play young to say, hey, we're rebuilding. And a lot of times, as a senior, they'll put you through the thing where they go, well, we got to show this guy more love. And I'm like, well, I just came to the school, so you should have told me that from the get. But like anything, I tell kids, you got to know the area. And the coach was like, look, I don't recruit nobody from Jersey. Like that. He said, I got to feed my family.
Like that?
Oof, that hurt. I know. That shit.
Like, you're not even my recruit.
I call my mom like, Mom, I'm gonna be playing a little bit. But,
I know you was hurt, man.
Yeah, it's tough, and that's the mental hurdle that I say kids go through because you know you don't expect an adult to have that type of energy.
That conversation. No, not at all.
Especially when they're recruiting you.
And it make like. Unfortunately, this world is real. It's cutthroat. And a lot of the times along the journey, some people are not growing up in that setting. So when something happens to them, it hits them. It hits them differently, you know?
You know, like I said, like anything, I went through depression. And whether it was a huge one or a small one, you know, it was one of those things where you start to question your athletic ability, your doubt, and who you are as a person. But I was just blessed to have beautiful people in my family. My mom always told me, like, you know you're going through depression if your place is not clean. Everything's organized.
A whirlwind.
Very true.
And I had to take that step back and, you know, I just had to breathe, meditate, and kind of understand, like, you know what, this is not the end goal. Like, there's a bigger goal. Wherever you're going, there's a bigger goal, a bigger purpose. And, you know, one of my guys who you know, was part of my journey, my trainer, he always said AOA, which is adapt, overcome, and achieve.
Ooh, I like that.
AOA,
adapt, overcome, and achieve.
Adapt, overcome, and achieve. And with that aspect, you know, I just like, all right, well, I'm not seeing these coaches my whole life. They're going to be a blip or a little whatever in my life.
Yes.
And I'm going to keep going.
In the bigger picture.
And I'm going to let them read about me one day.
I know, that's right. That's how you feel it.
You know, the athlete's journey is also like the rapper's journey. You go through the ups and downs. You go through millions of no's. And you can see with the documentary with Kanye. Even his own people ain't even believe.
Right, for sure.
Even after they signed him.
Even after they signed him.
Even after he's put in the work and showed you he could do it in the producer level. It's like, we still down him.
It's an interesting journey. So that dynamic was done, and came back home. And this is where me and my guy Kamal, you know, poor Kamal, I had to get him up. I was still on 5 a.m.s and 4:30s.
Yo, legit
time. Yo,
right before school.
So, you know, I just told him I wanted him to, you know, understand that and beat the politics, because when you're great, they have to play you, or they have to. You know, if I'm making hits, they got to play my music.
Right.
At the end of the day.
You can't ignore.
Can't stop what I'm doing. Can't stop great work. So that was the dynamic of staying locked in. And you know, my journey from being an athlete, and then, you know, the next year being a school teacher. It's like,
It went just like that from Washington State to school teacher?
To school teacher.
What?
So, you know, like I said, my connection with Kamal and his family, which is my family, but his mom, you know, I'm at home and, you know, just like, what am I doing?
Right.
Yeah.
And at that time, you know, social media is not as big and prevalent.
Right.
I needed bread. So, you know, like I said, she said, hey, get into subbing. And I'm 23.
Yeah.
What? A baby. 23.
Baby, I'm 23.
Yeah.
Now I'm
Trying to
thinking
tell
about
kids
it.
what to do.
Now I'm thinking about it. This is why when I go out, I see kids, I told them, like, we close to the same age. Oh,
Oh man. Like,
This is crazy.
Let
Now.
me dip. So got into the school teaching aspect and started subbing, and I'm in Inglewood, and Inglewood, like I said, is something I love. And, you know, I got to teach kids who, you know, in my neighborhood, they see me. You know, they see me play sports and that dynamic. And to be in a classroom, I thought it was a great image for black men.
Yes.
Because we needed that. We don't have much more of that. And so that was how I was preaching it. Like, look, fellas, I've been through it.
Yeah,
And
that's
this
dope.
is where, you know, my relationship with Juwan Winfrey and
shout out
JJ and Chucky Wingate and a lot of these guys and
sure.
Keon Washington, a lot of these guys, this is where the foundation for those guys where, you know what, I gave them all my information.
Of
So
course.
it was just easy access.
Of course. It was only right. Each one teach.
It's all right, and I just started, that's where Dbacks Academy started building.
Okay.
Right,
So
yeah.
take us through Dbacks Academy.
Yeah,
How
so
that got
the whole
started.
transition.
Dbacks Academy, like I said, I was working out on my own, and I just seen a few kids just come up to me and just start joining me. And I'm like, yo, don't be messing up my workouts. I'm straight
listen,
locked in.
listen, I'm
If we
locked
working,
in.
we working.
I'm working. So, you know, that became a situation where I'm like, you know what? Let me stop being selfish. Because, like I said, in California, in LA area, for like 3 months, I was homeless.
Oh, wow.
And I had people feed me, and I was sleeping on different couches.
Oh,
and,
wow.
And because JUCO life is just
It's
different.
different.
I
You
know
don't get
it's hell.
any, you don't, you know.
Yeah.
And if I'd have complained back home, they had told me to come back home.
Yeah.
And I just was so locked in.
Yeah, but you weren't
able
even
to survive out there.
It's like, listen, no, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I'm doing it.
I had someone, you know, one of my guys, John Diaz from Yak, Young Athletes for Christ. He took me in a couple times and fed me.
That's dope.
And a lot of times he just said, pay it forward.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, what can you do? Pay it forward. And that was something that stuck with me in terms of paying things forward, because if you want a blessing, you have to be a blessing. And so my dynamic, when I came back home, I was like, look, you know what? I'm paying it forward.
Right.
And so when I got these guys to my hip, we working, and it was just like, it was just peaceful.
Very organic.
This is something
It
I'm
sounds
supposed
very
to do.
organic.
Right.
It's something I'm supposed to do. And that was my journey with Inglewood in sports, because I knew I always wanted to be a head coach or wanted to be a part of that. And it just made it easy, that transition. But, you know, I still had fire, and I still wanted to play football.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I can imagine.
You know, Kamal was my guy, and we're just getting up early, lifting and doing different things, running, and got an opportunity to play pro football.
Oh,
So-
okay. Where did you end up getting the opportunity?
So I did a few trials with the Eagles, with the Giants, but I ended up getting my tryout my play at Arena Football.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, I remember you were
Yeah.
telling us growing up. He
I
played arena.
Yeah, I was in Arena Football. I did that for about 4 or 5 years, back and forth, and I was in Green Bay.
That's fire.
So I was staying out there with my guy Ryan Grant, who took care of me, like I said.
And in Green
That's
Bay.
fire. Fast
In
forward,
Green
how
Bay.
everything like
And then,
full circle comes around.
Well, I was in Orlando, I was in Jacksonville, and then by then I just was like, you know what, I gotta chill. I need to start branching to the next journey. 'Cause
Yeah.
we got many different talents, and as athletes, we get caught up in one.
Yes.
And it
I
stops
want
us.
avenue in
Yeah.
it.
It stops
for sure.
us. So I was like, you know what? I'm getting to the point where I'm about 26. It's funny, I'm doing like life.
No.
But no, it's like I'm at 26. Like, yeah, you're old now. You got to do different things. So at 26, I was like, you know what? I want to start doing different things and building a platform. And came back home and got into the coaching aspect and got into the teaching aspect. And, you know, came back to Inglewood, did that for a little bit, and got to PC, Paramus Catholic.
Okay, yeah, talk about Paramus Catholic.
Paramus
now.
Catholic was a different dynamic where, you know, this is where, you know, and this is where I say Jabril Peppers changed my life.
Oh, for sure. I can imagine. He changed a lot of lives.
And I say this to say because the connection that him and I had was because we went to Bosco and then he left.
Yeah,
Right.
well, yeah.
both.
And it was for similar reasons, same reasons you could say, but you know, prior to that, I'm at Inglewood coaching track, and Peppers and I, we started talking.
Right.
He's a track athlete, and I started training him. And
that's
he's kind of one of the first of Dbacks Academy. And this is,
Fire.
I'm in Inglewood, so I'm just like, all right, yeah, just come out here. And I remember I used to give out I used to tell kids 5 a.m. to see if they really wanted it.
Yeah,
Because I would do
test the heart. Let's see where your heart's at.
Yeah, because I would just do this for free.
Yeah,
I was just doing it for free.
For the love.
I was just opening doors.
And that'll show you, that makes the difference, all the difference. When you see that kid that shows up at 5, you know he's locked in.
And I had kids who lived across the street from the park who wouldn't show. And he was coming from like East Orange,
I'm
pulling up.
Yeah.
In something different. I'm like, well,
every day.
Whose car is that?
Yeah.
But that's a whole.
He used to show up to my crib so random. I'll be tattooing. He just shows. I'm like, where did you get this Audi from? He's like, yo, I borrowed it from my teammate. I'm like, what? I was like 17 riding around in an Audi from the hood. I'm like, what are you doing right now? He's like, nah, bro, I just borrowed the cars. Like, my teammates don't care. They got mad cars. I basically live with them. I'm like, that's fire.
I just said, this is a different man right here.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a grown young man.
Oh, yeah, at 15, he was like 6 foot, 180 pounds.
It's crazy. So for him, I saw how bad he wanted it, and I said, you know what? This is I could hear my old coach in LA say, "Pay it forward."
Pay it forward.
So this is where our dynamic came about, and next thing you know, I get a call from Paramus Catholic, like, look, yeah, we got an opening for you, and I'm like, I don't want to coach.
Wow.
Because I was so locked in of I'm staying in Inglewood. I was boxing myself in.
Right.
I'm gonna be in Inglewood.
I don't make a difference here, but
thinking they not knocking people, but thinking that this is the end all be all. But sometimes it's hard to be a prophet in your own land.
Yeah, that is very true.
And sometimes you gotta branch out.
Yeah.
So you can grow even more, right?
Of course.
You know, my biggest thing is success is situational. Like a flower, it can't grow in dark. You got to be around the sun. It makes it successful. So the biggest thing being at PC, like I said, I felt like, I'm like, this Negro got me this job, bro. And I kind of was mad because I'm like, because I like to do things on my own. So
Yeah. Very independent.
And I told him this the last time we worked out. I walked in there, he's standing in the coach's office nodding his head. I'm like, man,
that's dumb.
I gotta be in this. All right, I gotta. So I said, you know what? I'm not gonna be the token. I'm gonna be a role model to everyone.
Right.
And it's all my young boys. And you know, at the time, PC had a lot of Inglewood kids. And,
Yeah.
You know, Tyrone, Stinker, all those guys. They had a lot of those guys where. You know what I said? I don't want to be in a situation where, you know, they get screwed or whatever the dynamic is. So I put myself in that school, end up teaching. At school.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, how
did I get here?
How did I even
but sometimes that's how life works, though. Everything just starts falling in line.
It fell
right into your lap.
It was such a blessing because it allowed me to grow because, like, you know, as a teacher, you know, I was in a raw. I was working in an alternative school at the time beforehand, so I went from different dynamics of taking kids to court.
Right, I was going to say the alternative is the worst.
And truth be told, me at 23 and the kid I'm teaching is 20.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like,
right? Yeah.
Because he's trying to get his credits and all that to get a job. So then now I'm at PC and I'm dealing with kids who are pulling up in different cars and
different.
Paramus Catholic, for people who don't know, Paramus Catholic.
Private school,
listen,
money.
Private school is money. Paramus is money. And Paramus Catholic is even more money.
It's different. It's different. So being there, it allowed me to understand what my purpose was. And continue the journey. And I did that for about 6 years, and I was fortunate to work with like 3 #1 athletes in the nation.
That's dope. Yeah, because Paramus Catholic had Rashawn Gary also. Shout out to Rashawn Gary. He got drafted by the Packers in the first round. I remember he went to Michigan, was a dog.
Yes, so I had Peppers, Gary. I had the kid Drew Singleton, who's at Rutgers right now.
That's fire.
Who's planning on being a draft next year. And
that's
then
nice.
You know, I had like countless kids who stood out in my life who. You know, like I said, if you want a blessing, you have to be a blessing.
Yes.
They healed me from the journey of football.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like you're living vicariously through them now. Like when you see them on screen, it's like,
that's
beautiful.
So, you know, that dynamic was cool, but like anything, all good things sometimes come to an end.
Yeah.
And it was you know, like anything, sometimes it ain't always a perfect situation the way you leave.
No.
Wait, let's not forget though. You guys won 2 state championships.
Yeah, two.
If I'm not mistaken,
We
2
won
state championships.
2 state championships.
Y'all beat. I remember y'all beat my boy Brandon Wimbush and Minka Fitzpatrick. Shout out to Minka on the Steelers. Shout out to the Steelers. I remember y'all beat them in the state chip. That shit was crazy.
And Minka was supposed to come to PC.
Oh,
really?
wow.
I didn't know that.
It was personal.
Oh my God!
I didn't know that.
As a DB coach, I would have been able to have Minka and Peppers.
Oh my God!
God.
What?
Yes.
That's
school?
crazy.
Nah.
Yes,
I didn't
so-
even think about that.
It was crazy because I remember walking and
Yeah, Minka
seeing
was a year
him.
younger.
He was a year younger, and I remember
Bro.
walking into the school and I saw him and his family going to the office, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be crazy.
What?
I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, God is
NFL
good.
started the Pro Bowl safeties.
It'd have been crazy.
It's crazy.
And,
on one high school team.
And Wimbush, I've always been a fan of his character.
Yeah, Wimbush, he's from Teaneck, so I watched
Teaneck.
them grow up.
man.
Yeah, me
Bro, I
yo,
watched that little
literally.
kid play.
Legit.
Well, now he's a grown ass man,
Yeah.
but when we were kids,
He was-
bro, he was in
Baseball,
5th grade
right?
playing with 8th graders.
Yep.
And his
Yep.
brother was a year older than us. Sometimes he'd be playing with them.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
how is he playing above us? He was 3 years younger than me. Somehow
Yes.
he was playing 4 years up. I
Yes.
said, no, that kid's gonna be special.
No,
And he
yeah, he got
disappeared,
it.
and then he immersed 6'3", 220 pounds.
Easy.
And I'm like,
Easy.
who-
Notre Dame
I'm
quarterback.
I'm like, this. What the? I'm like, nah.
Nah, he got us back the next year too.
Oh, yeah.
Because they beat us, and he did threw for 200 and ran for 200. And I
Oh
was
yeah,
like,
it got nasty. It got
he was
nasty.
crossing over kids. I'm like, this is football, man. Crossing him over. So
crying.
that dynamic was interesting, and this is where like I said before, you don't get opportunities where you can coach so many talented athletes,
Yeah.
and be around
Blessing.
talented people. So that led me to Dbacks Academy and being in that platform. And sometimes where people say, well, I'm not, it's for the money, but I was working for free for over like 5 to 6 years. Just
people
it was
don't
a
know about
hobby that was building.
I was
Yeah,
about to
you
ask
know
that.
about that.
I was about to ask you, how long were you actually working before you started getting paid for it?
Man, 10 years.
Wow.
10 years.
Think about that.
And like I said, this was a hobby. This was just me giving back. And
This showing
Right,
love.
because it wasn't
even-
for monetary
it's
purposes.
Very,
it was
very
just felt right.
organic.
Yeah,
Very
it felt right.
organic.
It felt right. And
Pay it forward.
It was
Pay it
needed.
forward.
Yeah, no, it was needed. It was needed because, kids was asking questions of, how's this guy who, this size and how'd you get here? And I was like, you know what, I'm going to share this because I want you to do better. So you can pay it. And I always up tell guys, pay it forward.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm remember that
Pay it
one.
forward.
That ain't
So,
that ain't gonna fall over.
I love this. The title of this episode gonna be "Pay It Forward."
Yes.
Oh,
I like that.
Yes.
Pay it
Ding,
forward.
ding, ding. Yeah. Shout out to Mom in the background. With the buzzers.
So, you got now in the story we got Dbacks Academy going on, and
Yes.
when did you start, getting shout outs from the New York Post and Sports Illustrated reaching out for interviews as far as that's concerned, and when did it really start getting the buzz around Dbacks Academy?
Well, being fired from my job. And like I said,
At Paramus Catholic?
Paramus
Okay.
Catholic. And I say fired because I'm gonna be organic and honest. I was fired. I was let go because like I said, after we had after Obama's administration left, I felt like a lot of things changed with it was just so divided in the classrooms. And so I started African American Culture Club where I was just teaching different things.
Oh,
and it wasn't
you didn't
at the
even
school.
you didn't even tell me that. I know. Wow.
Yeah, I had our cousin Keisha. Shout out to Coach Keisha. She has a platform as well. But I started African American Culture Club at that school, and the dynamic was just really kind of educating all.
Right. It wasn't just
just one niche.
Right,
It was like
It wasn't just for the black students. You
wasn't just
wanted
for
to
the black-
actually
it was
teach
for all.
everybody else so that we can all be.
and I started switching how people viewed me.
Yeah. So
How
yeah.
the teachers started viewing me. How the president started viewing me. It became cold walks in the hallway where they're not speaking to you. And that's when I was like,
The love. At first it was all love, and now.
and it's crazy. I've
weird.
never spoke on this, so you guys are getting it.
Wow.
You guys are the first people who have ever, even when I got interviewed in the paper, I always kept it chill with Paramus Catholic
Yeah.
because, 48 powers of law, you never disrespect anybody, put you on or the master,
sure.
outshine the master. But at the end of the day, there's other type of laws too. And I think it's the law of respect. And the dynamic of it is when they started doing the funny business.
The energy was totally different.
I had to keep it moving and understand what is your next goal? What
What is your
journey?
next? Yeah.
And I saw the glass ceiling. And then for me, I just said, okay, cool. This is how we moving. All right, well, you think I'm probably boxing in this platform. I'm just a teacher. So, like I said, I kept it moving. They told me, you ain't got to go home, but you got to
Get a guy about here.
And it was such an interesting dynamic, me being home now, thinking what I'm going to do. And then COVID hit. Boom.
Damn.
And it was like, and then like anything, when you are broke, because the best money is investing. And when you don't invest in your money, you will lose money. No matter how much money you get it in, because there's bills that have to be paid.
100%.
And this is where the pay it forward comes in. Kamal came into my life and was like, look, bro, here's this book you need to read, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Get on it.
Legit.
He gave me that book too.
Legit.
He's an ill dude, man. He's I'm trying to tell you, man. He's one of the ones.
And he was talking to me real aggressive. I'm like, oh my God.
I'm like, yo, B, I ain't never seen you like this before.
I was like,
I was
And
like,
that's
yo.
dope because he's the much younger cousin, and he can still come to you and tell you, boom, and you can listen to him. Like, I know he has something to value.
I had to listen because one thing about information is something you can keep and give at the same time. And I had to listen.
Yeah.
I had to listen because I'm looking at this as Kamal as a vessel of a positive light, and I'm like, yo, 100%. He's giving me energy right now. So I read the book, and you know, there's another book, there's Dare to Be a Better Man, that was just teaching me different things on how to grow, you know, and for me, I was like, all right, cool. And then I have a cousin, and our Kamal's cousin, his name is Kels Mania.
Yeah.
He taught us, or he's teaching me, when I say us, because any information that I have, I always share it, but business-wise, he 5001 Harlem Haberdashery. He's big in Harlem, and you know he's worked with Fat Joe in terms of clothing brands, and he creates clothes for a lot of let's say high profile people, and brands where we don't even know. So
right.
He taught me on the marketing aspect, and he always said if you have any ideas, put it on IG, create an Instagram platform, so you can always say, hey, I put this out there just in case someone. You know. And so that's what I kept doing. I kept throwing out IGs. Like people go, you got like 1,500 IGs. I'm like, because these are my ideas.
Yeah, your ideas.
And people can never say, it's almost like a slick way to copyright. Because people can never say.
Yeah, exactly.
People can never say, you didn't have that. So I was just throwing out so many ideas, whether it's from writing tools, from football to whatever it may be, right? I still want to be a rapper. No, I don't want to be a rapper.
We all want to be a rapper.
But it was one of those things where I threw out ideas and I said, you know what, let me do this Dbacks Academy. And sometimes the most organic ideas come from me meditating and walking. Like I'm big, when people say, I see you walking, because I'm really just building and creating right now.
Yeah.
Spiritually. And this is living in LA and living in Idaho, where my meditation is just about me moving and being active, right?
Everyone has a different.
And clearing and fasting.
Yeah.
That's something that was big for me, and just clearing my thoughts. But like I said, when Kamal gave me this platform with the book, I read it and understood that, the 4 quadrants was, investor, business owner, employee and self-employed. I had to say, you know what, let me, I want to be an investor, and what do I need to invest in? Myself first.
Yes.
Right? And that's the first thing, even going to what Ryan Grant taught me about teaching when you have kids. You got to teach them to invest in themselves and self-love. Self-worth,
100%.
because somebody will might see your talent and might block it. Like, yeah, you really a duck when you're really a lion. You know what I'm saying? And they might try to block that. So you got to teach your kids what they want to be and who they are. But going into the Dbacks thing, and COVID hit, and a lot of these major facilities shut down. And like I said, this is the full circle where Jabril hits me up and is like, look, I see what you're doing. I see how you're working with these guys. I want to get some work. And I'm like, all right, sure. Cool, no problem. And this is where I was like I said, my mindset wasn't even about money because I never charged them. Right. My mindset was like, this is my youngin', just like if it's Kamal, my brother, you, anyone. You know what? I want to see you do right. Because, at that time, his career, whatever, they were having questions. And I knew the athlete he was.
Yeah.
And I knew it didn't add up, and I knew it wasn't his fault.
Right.
Because this is where a lot of times kids get used. They just say, play a million different positions, and you're not a master in one.
Yeah.
And he was one of those kids where he played so many different positions. He never got a chance to hone his skills and be a master of it. So my dynamic was, all right, cool, we're going to master this bad boy. And I got into the lab, and like anything, with great work, people are going to bring. The word of mouth is always your best, your best employee or employer or whatever the dynamic. Best marketing tool. So, and I told him it's no pretty shit. We gonna go in the grass. We gonna be in McKay Park. You gonna see some old people booing you probably, or telling you get your shit together. You know what I'm saying? So my dynamic was we did this for 2 months straight, and it was no pretty stuff. We got it in. Like he used to be like, yo, we need to do a break real quick because I'll be locked in. And even with Kamal, it's like, yo, I know you did a real estate. Come through. Yeah. Come through. Kamal came out and did the drill.
Kamal still got it.
I'm like, you looking like an athlete right now. So
don't play with him.
So, like anything, this is where I tell people, and this is where I had to listen. Throw your work out there so they can see it. And I threw my work out there, and someone hit me from Sports Illustrated. It was like, look, we ain't got too many stories right now because of COVID, but we see what you're doing. We love what you're doing.
Wow.
And let's interview. And I was just organic, and I just spoke my mind, and they were like kind of taken aback by like, okay, this guy's a thinker as well.
Yeah.
And it always amazes people when they realize that athletes are actually intellectual.
Yes,
It's all of a sudden like a mind-blowing thing.
They try to box you in, you know?
And the way I describe certain things, the way I'm teaching it, I'm letting them know this is just more than just physical. This is something where it's spiritual.
Right.
This is something where you need to get up and get you going and get your mind right, and how to just be a professional. Like I said, back in the days with Bosco. And so, like I said, with that platform and open it up, Sports Illustrated came, the record, the post, and things. It was so crazy that I had people who were doubting me started saying, "Yeah, that's my cousin."
Of course, once you get lit, everybody your cousin.
And for me, this is where me taking a step back. I'm a pretty private dude, where like I just rather just chill, and it taught me to be comfortable in my own skin. Like be comfortable being that guy.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you're not that guy, get to being that guy.
Yes, yes.
Don't be afraid of shining.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
100%.
saying? And I think even in our culture, sometimes people go, "Oh, you changed," and you're like, "Nah, I'm just getting better."
Yes,
I'm supposed to be changing. I'm getting better. I'm
getting better. So
no stagnation around here.
No, and then this is where I had to go. It put me in a position where I respected my younger brother so much because the success that he got so young, I wasn't understanding it because I was just like, bro, don't worry, don't listen to. But that Jelly fan blew up so crazy.
Yeah, they want everybody's. They were all the rave at the time in high school too.
It was crazy.
They were freshmen, sophomores, dropping 30, 40 at games, going shutting down Dykeman.
Everything.
Like got sneaker collabs they couldn't get paid for. Like Kyrie made the Jelly fam sneaker. People didn't realize that was Kyrie's from Jersey. It was a real clear connection. It was Jelly. Like when you see the grape jelly on the back of the Nike swoosh, that was Jelly fam. Like shout out to Dre Wash and JQ, all of them, man.
I mean, I had them all in my, like I said, I had them all in my crib, and you know they saw me go through different things. And at one point, I got a video of 8th grade where I had JQ, Dre, Jacquay, and a few of those guys playing on my team with Inglewood shirts and was holes in them. And we beating powerhouse teams, and they like, this is cheating. I'm like, they in 8th grade, 7th grade. So that was a whole different dynamic. So like I said, I was just telling Kamal, like for me, I felt like I've been a part of a lot of history in Bergen County, a lot of history in America in terms of Jelly Fam with Jabril and PC and that dynamic, and now Dbacks Academy, which is my own platform. And the blessings of that was because communication is my background, I got to start speaking at podcasts and start breaking down Giants film.
That's
breaking down films.
I'm a part of the Giants, communications platform, and that was just organic in there.
Yeah, that's just paying it forward. Somebody paid it forward to you. And just keeps on going back.
Keep going. And with Dbacks Academy now, this is a platform where, over 200K views, and just even with the merch and, my other younger brother, Monte, he actually created my logo.
Okay, that's
so
dope.
I kept it in
the family.
I kept it in the family.
Of course.
He has a brand called Gravy, and he's done a lot of different things.
Shout out to Gravy.
Shout out to Gravy.
In the description.
He definitely, like I said before, I was just telling him this is what I want to do, and my next goal is just to be a billionaire.
Of course.
Real simple.
Everybody, right. That's exactly what we aiming for, billions.
I say it to say in a Kanye voice, but it's like, when people say they're asshole, people don't question that. But if you say you're a genius, people have issues with that.
Yeah.
And people have issues with you saying you're a god, or you're saying you're living a higher power for a purpose, and people have issues with positive reinforcement. And my thing is just like, I'm so locked in that it's your issue, it's not mine. So it is what it is. So
So right now, one last question, because we do have to kind of wrap it up, just because we're running low on time. But I wanted to get in. So if an athlete wants to tune in and get into Dbacks Academy, how could they do that?
So or
is it like a selective group? You find them.
Well, the first thing is I always look at the page to see if they want it. So if you pulling up, if you posting, whatever negative energy, then I'm not going to train you. So that's the luxury that I have. But for athletes, if I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, and I'm having a platform soon. I'm on YouTube as well, but it's Dbacks Academy.
Okay.
So for Instagram, it's Dbacks .academy.
Okay.
And then Twitter is Dbacks_Academy, and it's crazy. I've known I made it when I started seeing different Dbacks Academies, and
other people biting out the name, because that's a hell of a name.
Oh my God! And I start seeing other training facilities, local, going DBA, and I just go, I respect it. That's cute. So
that's cute.
That's what it is.
I got one more question. Is there any NFL DB you would say has, for the younger kids, they should go look up their tape? Somebody who has excellent technique.
Yes, Darrelle Revis. That is the top tier. I think the way he's patient, the way he's still aggressive at certain points, and the way he handles himself, he was able to generate over $100 million in a football career, and he leveraged himself.
Right.
I think on and off the field is great. And then the next guy I'll have to say is a kid like Bryce Watts. He's an undrafted free agent I've been working with, but he's with the Steelers now. And he's my young boy.
Shout out to
Steelers. I'm going to continue to push that platform with him. He's a dope kid.
Yeah, shout out to Bryce Watts. I'm about to tune in.
Yeah, me too.
Runs a 4.2, so he's
matter of fact, what was your 40 time?
My 40 time was 4.4, so
4.4.
The fastest was 4.3, but 4.4 was
you feel me? We clocking in at 4.3 and all that.
Yes,
But listen, man, it's been the Free Gems podcast.
No,
Unfortunately, we got the
wonderful
cut show, but
episode.
we might have to bring B-Walk back for the show. And I want to talk about the whole
Absolutely.
the meditation and the spiritual journey too, because I seen you kept touching on it. I'm like, we got a whole lot more to talk about.
Another one coming through. Another one coming soon.
But listen, man, I just want to close out, man. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. It's been the Free Gems podcast. Big special thank you to B-Walk for coming in.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Dbacks Academy. Shout out to K Cinco. Shout out to Marvin in the background. Shout out to Braveheart
Shout out
Studios.
Braveheart
Man, listen,
Studios.
we are gone.
We are out. Episode 10, baby.
Yeah.